Yeah. All right. We're very serious tonight.
Ready to be efficient.
Yeah. I can take off my jacket and show off my pink if that's better. Makes you more comfortable. Yeah. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the closed session for the Hermosa Beach School Board for Wednesday, March 8th, 2023. Calling the closed session order. Dinah, will you please take the roll?
Board Member Barrow.
Present.
Board Member Cluth.
Present.
Board Member Bove LaMonica. Absent. Vice President Clerk Cole. Present. President Gardner.
Present.
4 present, 1 absent.
Thank you, Dinah. We will now open up for public comment on the closed session. I do not see anyone in the room here for public comments, so we'll close live in-person public comment. Is there anybody on the Zoom? Or
No one on the
virtual?
Zoom. No one virtual.
All right, perfect. So we will close the public comment for the closed session, and we will adjourn the closed session. Thank you.
No worries. No rush. Hello. Yes, yeah, that I'm looking good, Jen. I went online. No worries.
So that well from green past line.
No, okay.
Aaron was asking for a quote, 23.4.
No, about the vision, we didn't specify, I say I want to envision a previous.
So I emailed her back and said, no, like this year. It doesn't depend, and then I said, all right, next year we'll do video and I'm hoping we.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm good right now. Thank you.
And there's also
Okay, thank you.
That does basically. You're just casting whatever on your device to, the television, to the. They might need to do laptop, if they have, an iPad, they can install Castify on an iPad and a laptop, and then you can walk around. Like laptop, similar, and it's a metering program. Portable back to your computer. TV with this computer, TV, and that person having to manage these items.
So Ed was cleaning, I was giving a stop and all. He's really upset. But I don't know what to do. I'm studying for, like, I don't know what to do here. Yeah, again, that's for.
Have Kimberly. That means draft for I've already known. Yeah, you receive one? It was from Kimberly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good to go?
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah. And I think. I'm not saying that there's. You know that. Yeah. Yeah. Wilson Park, like they like over the night, someone like ate all the ducks. Oh, I never heard of that. Oh, and it was the doctor. Yeah, one night it's a day restraint. On the tree. Something that they do, right? I told Sylvia like the reason we take the water out. That's there's one other work that's like. That's okay. Get this way paw or whatever. Yeah. In an evil sermon. Yeah. I mean, like, I think it's a little messed up. Being well, and not.
Like, well, I guess it's, yeah.
They tried to bring me a test. And I said, no, you can take it back. Yeah, I only eat drugs and sleep on soft pillows. What? Yeah. And then my computer, rearranged that with the shoulder massage. It was bad, it was a lot better. You know, suit, so I'll do it. I like my, I like my, well, all of them are good. Not important. Yes, I think that's. I think it's also on the because I think that all the said very honest. All right, you want to the best on tonight's length? Okay, I got a 9:30. Gotta have at least 5 minutes. And we got 8. Hello? Whoa. How dare you? I'm 8:30. I got a 9:30 and an 8:45.
8:50.
8:50? Okay. I'm gonna go at 10 o'clock, and as you know, I have a meeting, so. Yeah, come in, yeah. I feel like I think so, but I'm gonna say that this meeting, where I, so it was 8:45 and 8:50. I'm gonna say 9:15. Okay, man. All right, you ready, so? Yeah.
Aaron, you said 9, right? Jack, what did you say? 9:30. Oh, yeah.
I see you like, these are, you know, I'm like. God, that's what we will. All right. Let's. I'll make order.
Getting all those orders.
Still need to take like, she took like maybe like a dollar. I'll make it a college. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and under Sylvia. Here we go, guys. Look at, I got $1.55 for winning, right? She'll say like, yeah, I want to late, and then she'll be there extra hours.
There we are.
Oh, how about if you win, let me take you out to lunch? Oh, that's a lot. Watch me eat my lunch during our meetings every day. After 3 years. Good. Yeah.
Go to meeting.
I'm gonna be like, taking, going to this emergency meeting and then. You're gonna jump out of the car? Yeah, that's right, $1.55. There's a lot of items. Someone's life can change.
I can go buy soda.
Yes. I don't think you get a soda. I was thinking about it.
That's Walmart. That's what it's showing. It's both. Well, you can. Today, I love the jacket. I haven't had chocolate in so long. And it has great.
You're a diet, right?
How about to add?
My grandma. It was still around. They
All right. Yeah.
Orange grape.
Right, you're. Okay.
Oh. Not this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We didn't know about that. Yours.
You know what? You never bring all things, I don't want to mess up this.
No, seriously, I'm gonna have to use it for something. I was gonna have, that'll get a funny joke, but you're gonna have $1 million. Now, we get $100 now. We didn't do anything. We actually personally. Remember we had the. So we got something that we could throw out of the car, and so now there's. I mean, that's. I'm gonna do it wrong.
Good name.
I got a couple. I told her that on Friday, I may not, I. The lease was expensive. It is. Yeah. It's not, it's something, it's different, it's about, for, I'm trying to get recruit teachers. And so we're getting feedback about some teachers and improvement and I.
You're taking them.
That's not,
That's not.
this is specifically for.
Teachers to be their educators and to be whatever.
Or what?
I have some parties. So you know how I don't care, it's sweet. You know, I just haven't talked to you guys. And I have to let it go. No, that would be my answer. I don't see that really good. So why do you keep and not like about like I don't know. Because you are in this program, it's called constructive. So I have been in my 3 years, but for a year. And the second year, they do $13,000 to get the teaching credential. The one I'm using this grade 1 and I have $5,000 for the teacher. And I'm not going to put it in either of us 18 months.
I mean, that.
So I just played now reading actually.
Never actually. We probably.
And I said, well, yeah, I just want to know what it is.
Yeah.
So,
That's a good deal.
yeah, it's a light day on the online.
Yeah, but. I mean, you gotta be. And
They don't follow.
they want.
My friend, she was wild for
Oh, yeah, it went years ago, it was. That way.
Yeah, they're not. When I went to the hospital, the bill was like.
So basically, filming.
Yeah. There was very you know,
No, it's probably. Apparently, they're gonna talk this today, so. We'll go. Good. Good. That's it.
yeah, right. I know. I was ready to make
I like. I really feel, from every young man. Two things, so, people want. One of the. One thing, always like people, I like stuff. I just like, I like. Yeah, it's like, I was jumping off learning. That's not very, even parents, like, I like. Oh, it's like. Sort of. That's probably the one. And then. Yeah, there's, so many work with roles and much fun. Like that was a good side. You know, so. Working kind of really, like,
Yeah,
Diana, can we get a dentist? No, we need a dentist. No, on, yeah, yeah. You can take over the hospital. We should, we're like diversity, right? I mean, like, we have a dental practice. We have. Yeah, we can go better, all right? I need something.
Maybe A's either that. I don't know, they just have a lot of overhead if you have your own office, so how much money are they going to gain? Well, how much is it? Mine is good. Mine is my mom.
I mean, again. Yes. Your business manager, you know, it's just business manager, and it's like, this is, you just with that. Like, I don't know where you are, you, like, free service. It's super weird. It's like, cool. I was a sheep, but I didn't really.
It's so big, but.
Go to the sheep lines.
You're supposed to 7, she got to 7, I mean, we don't have.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah. Calling all cars. This is an event. It's like all day.
Like, I go and tell everything that are, you know, you on the 5th, from the auditors in here. How the hell am I gonna get all of those? You're not gonna find them, not gonna have to process them all.
Are you scared?
Really, he is. But I'm over. Pretty good, but he knows that all three of you are on the 5th, so. I can't wait, like, if I don't get it ordered, I can't pull it out, I'll be doing it on the 17th.
Yeah.
So. You're like, oh,
Whatever. Business person.
right. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know. That like, we're holding the coin. Well, you don't care. Yeah. That we thought, like, oh. Okay. Please.
You're thinking,
Okay. Okay. What do you think? Spending on things. Yeah, a lot. Sitting there. If you have, if you're running your own life.
One person.
Every yellow over there. Care. And
This is really.
I think that. And that shows me to
Hey, everybody. I just secured conversation from WSP to support our students, to support our teachers and professional development for the all over the by talking to the so I'm like, is it a possibility of having a nice meeting? Having so I'm gonna have to monitor that. K-12, Brian, so she, they're gonna be out there right now, so she's up on a lot of food work. And she also. She said that HHI or something like that has. I was never. But I think that communication for planning would be something I think that just keep it out of that. If you like to keep it out of that process, why don't we just look together on like time is way overlooked, like many of our colleagues, so finding flex things for time, and then I can just do that on the verbal agreement, and then for her communication, we can work on it. I just need in general for an initial conversation, a collaborative initial conversation. Yes, I do. Yeah, I agree. I think that's really, I think over, I don't know, school district. I read on getting that conversation. Yeah. You know, not calling you. And people then. Why not?
Well, I'm here leading college tomorrow. I know now, if you guys want something. There's crap with that.
Oh, I can't have anything, I'm on a diet.
Oh, how about that?
I ate all my food today. I can't have any food.
And then.
What's that? Yeah. Come on, and these, crack it out with milk.
I have granola bar. Donut bar. I figure you guys haven't eaten.
Hi, Erin.
I have a jacket. I don't think it's eat.
Bacon,
There's
chicken.
protein. I've got protein. There's multiple. So if you want. There's that.
Chicken strip, I love it.
Turkey bacon, Colby, chicken, Monterey cashew. Oh. You want one of these? Like chicken, cashews and cheese. You want another? Why are you Are you doing okay?
They do have.
Want to know?
What's the one?
I don't think so.
Robinson, my kids are too nice, there's no lighting. I mean, after. Your leg. Lost my shirt like that.
I am going to wear leggings and follow their normal, but it is like that. And then I have some flat suede boots. And then I'm not gonna wear this, I'm gonna wear this like gold jacket, because I don't think this. That's the best. I'm gonna wear this.
The next 5 minutes.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, I'm not gonna do things. I was looking at ski suits and then I'm going to.
Yeah.
I have to snap with another.
Aaron, you know, the long, right? Oh, you're seeing. I have. No. Neither do we. And we. Yeah, by the sheet and yet, what I have now. Yeah, no, my most meetings on that is like, then that. I don't, I agree. We don't mind, you just have to. So I think. For us, what is some of the races we're going to? I.
How can you guys put all the business stuff?
What's that now, right? All the apps.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And I was. Yeah. Are you speaking tonight?
No.
But I have. Yeah. Nancy. Morgan. Nancy. No, my hands are really full. Morgan is our one of our. You? Yeah. How are you? That's awesome.
Thank you for being here.
I wouldn't want to be doing anything else, but. What I think all of us do.
No later meeting things to.
This was born out of Cheryl covered your class, but can you? And then it ended up being, oh, I don't need. I was like, still need this. I didn't know.
Thursday night meetings, which I think is like the most rural.
Uh,
Yeah, I wouldn't consider that. I didn't consider. Not like Thursdays.
why do you like this?
I'm like Thursdays because it's still the day.
Like the next day is a good day.
Next day, so like. whatever the calendar is,
Thursday, yeah.
I'm like, maybe it's like, college like Thursday, it's like a last day of school, but not for soccer.
Mine was big and flip night, but like that's.
You take a Friday class.
Thursdays were, Thursdays was the best night.
Yeah, well, that's how I, Friday was actually like less.
Yeah.
Thursday.
Thursdays actually.
It's like an album.
I must say the best night I missed money. My life is very short from that. Remember I. In the office. I want to do it, and then. You have 2 days, like get your footing and then. You know, you don't bring it.
Dancing. Do you want it on this dog? I will put out. To be in the pool.
What's
The Amarillo.
The pool is literally, I just give. $1.25. You might have used to be a quarter, I used to give out.
you're out in on it?
Yeah.
Do we need to go in on it?
Is it, Price is Right?
So, it's. Obviously, you're not invited to this, because you start making things up like that. And I don't want you to wait. 8:45 for Aaron. 8:15 for Bluff. 9:05 for Paula. 9:15 for yours truly, and 9:30 for
Dinah? Okay, 9:30. Girl.
I'm there. Sure.
And what's the like? 9:35.
Right, we got Nancy. Nancy's betting against us. Take the back end.
You're real. Don't tell me that. No. Who's that? Okay. I'm not scared. Yeah.
James. Try talking tonight. How you doing?
Understand the trouble? What's that?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Hermosa Beach School Board for Wednesday, March 8th, 2023. We have one item to report from closed session. The closed session agenda item was the public employee discipline dismissal release. And in closed session, the board took action to issue a notice of release of a temporary certificated employee pursuant to Education Code Section 44954 and 44953, effective at the end of the 2022-2023 school year, and the director of the superintendent or designee to send out appropriate legal notices. The roll call vote was as follows: ayes 4, nays 0, abstentions 0.
And just to clarify, that was a probationary employee.
Thank you. With that, we will call the open session to order. Dinah, will you please take the roll?
Board Member Barrow, Present. Board Member Cluth,
Present.
Board Member Bove LaMonica, Vice President Clerk Cole. Present. President Gardner,
Present.
4 present, 1 absent.
Thank you, Donna. Will everybody please join us for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everybody. We will now move on to approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? So moved. Thank you, Quinn. Is there a second? Thank you, Kathy. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. The agenda is approved. We will now move on to announcements. Dr. Johnson.
Thank you. First up, we have the Valley Student Council here to present on what's going on with our schools.
Hi, my name is Haley Case. I'm Valley's school president.
Hi, my name is Madison Young. I'm Valley's vice president.
Hi, my name is James Stevens, and I'm a 8th grade representative.
Hi, my name is Isabella Sopa, and I am a classroom representative.
I'm
You can pull it down.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Frankie, and I'm a class representative. Hi, my name is Alina, and I'm a classroom representative.
Hi, my name is Franklin Rogers, and I am an activities commissioner.
We are Valley's Middle School Student Council members, and we're here to update you on what's been happening at Valley.
So last month in 7th grade, students participated in their outdoor science trip in Catalina. They participated in hikes, algae labs, snorkels, a night dive, and a squid dissection. They even got to climb a rock wall and explore a touch tank with leopard sharks and rays. Many memories were made, and the students had a great time at camp. They'd also like to thank the teachers and parent chaperones who went and spent time putting this awesome camp together.
Last week, the 8th grade went to Disneyland. It was a fun experience, and it even snowed, or what the meteorologists actually call grapple. Either way, it was snow to us, and it was amazing. The 8th graders had a great time.
And Mr. Harrison and Hermosa Valley Band performed at the Hermosa Baseball Opening Day last Saturday, and they were great. Thank you, HBS Band. This Saturday, the middle school bands will also be performing in the St. Patrick's Day Parade. They will be playing This Is Me from the Greatest Showman. We hope you can come and cheer on the band.
Our Hermosa Valley Science Olympiad team, led by Coach Miss Loth, had an amazing showing at regionals. Congratulations to the HVS Science Olympiad team for placing 10th overall out of 43 other LA teams in their division at their regional competition. The team medaled in 4 events, which were Road Scholar, Forestry, Roller Coaster, and a first place medal in Write It, Do It. Congratulations again to our Olympiads.
Students participating in electives at Valley are currently working on some fun projects in video production. Students are working on creating clips in STEAM. Students are currently working on programming their own original superheroes and villains. Art students are working on making characters and set backgrounds for their stop motion film. Math in the Real World students are working on their Shark Tank presentation. And Trimester 2 drama students are preparing for their Midsummer Night's Dream play. Spring sports season is here. Tryouts for boys volleyball and girls softball will begin soon. Track will also begin in late March. We are excited for another season and good luck to our fellow Dolphins. Volleyball and softball games will begin on April 18th and end May 16th. Track and field will have one meet at the end of May. More information can be found on the HVS Athletic website.
Our middle school will have their last dance of the year Friday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, from 4 to 6 p.m. in the Valley School Gym. The students have chosen the theme, which is Spring Fling Formal, and everyone is excited for the dance, and the students are really looking forward to the DJ and the in and out track.
All right. Thank you again for allowing our student council to share what is happening at Valley. We look forward to sharing more information with you next month.
Thank you, student council. That was very, very well done and highly synchronized. Next, I'd like to bring up Principal Bledsoe and her team, and they're going to talk about personalized learning at Valley.
Good evening, board. Thank you for
Hello.
having me this evening. I'm going to let my team sit for a minute, but they have a little something prepared when it's choreographed into the show. Okay. Today I'm going to talk to you about what personalized learning looks like at Hermosa Valley. So the who, what, where, when, why, really this is all students. So all students receiving customized learning targeted toward their strengths and ensuring that they have the ability to access content and curriculum at the level that it's being delivered to them, encouraging student buy-in and voice and choice, which oftentimes, as we know, the data shows that increases our student performance. Do I have one? Yay! Oh, this is new. Thank you. Okay, so in our administrator training at the start of the school year, we were lucky enough to talk a lot about what goals for personalized learning in our district. And I know that it's something the board is very interested in as well, as it really is whole child, all about the kid and learning about exactly what they need, tailoring the supports to those needs. An article was presented to us in this, and it really kind of got me thinking about how to roll out this process in Hermosa Valley, and part of that is data collection. But I want to talk about the first part that the author, and I'll provide you with, I think I provided you with a link to the article, but if I did not, I'll share it with Dr. Johnson, who can share it with you. Broke up into 3 different components. And the first is the collective consciousness. So this just talks about that instruction should take place in whole groups. So allowing students to access content curriculum in whole group is important, but also really kind of allowing students to thrive on how their thinking is motivated and how that breakup looks like. So engineering content at a variety of locations for a variety of interests, using sports analogies, using dance analogies, getting students interested based on what their needs are, age appropriate, of course, really adds that connection. What does that look like? So if you look here, the young lady in the Los Angeles Dodgers hat who will be not judged is Ms. Hoagland. And she is doing a concept review reteach. So students took an assessment and they're circling back to what were the concepts that you didn't quite understand and why. And then that information, that anecdotal data will be taken back and will be kind of the ammunition for her reteach. On the picture on the left, this is assessment review in Mr. Hazard's class post a very challenging test. So you see students working together on collaborating on test corrections. Small group learning, the thing we know works for kids because it is targeted and it is meaningful and students are held accountable. So are teachers. So this author talked about teachers leveraging small group instruction as another dimension of teaching and learning, making it more personalized, understanding, hey, that kid, says in terms of fluency could work in this way. And I only know that because I've sat with him and I've read with him and I understand what his needs are. But instead of addressing conceptual learning whole group, it's a targeted intervention approach so that you can actually see anecdotally and data tracking wise growth in students. That's what we want. Here we see 5th graders engaging in a group discussion. This doesn't just mean learning from the teacher. So I think this is getting away from a sit and get only, where the teacher is not necessarily the all-knowing person at the start of the front of the classroom, but that students have the ability to learn from one another. So that dialogue and discussion we're fostering in a variety of ways, one of which is also happening from the wellness perspective, and that is with restorative circles. So students engaging in tough topic dialogue, but together. in addition to writing instruction. So you'll see Ms. Grillo is actually here with me today, and she'll talk a little bit about this picture and what it looks like to work with students on goal-oriented targeted intervention that is tracked over a period of time, and it allows us to speak to student growth. And then the third in this particular article was nurturing the inner dialogue. So I pulled back this whole component of feedback, which I think is really the absolute necessary piece for any type of growth. I feel like myself included, but delivered with kindness and honesty and actionability and chunked assignments, but tailored to what that student actually needs. So it could be like, hey, here's a set of color-coded pens for your reminder binder. I want you to write this. Pink is science and blue is math. So it's looking at students' individual needs, their strengths and challenges, and then really asking them to ramp up the ones that you're seeing are causing that disconnect between them and their learning. Here we see this group discussion collaboration in Miss Lee's class. Miss Lee does a really good job with this. She's also fostering this love of exploration in drama. So not just in her social studies class, but also in drama. And just to remind the board, social studies and drama are two new preps for Miss Lee, but she's kind of taking them on with a vengeance and has really done a great job of having students be able to work with one another. The second example is Lit Circles. This is from Miss Rangel's class and offer students voice and choice. So when I ask students in Miss Rangel's 8th grade class, what do you love about assignments such as this? They said, we get to choose how we're going to be assessed, or we get to choose what our test looks like. And I think that's great messaging. It's not necessarily the total truth, because assessment, the standards are all still there, but the mode in which they are delivering them is really offering them that opportunity to say, I'm going to own my learning and I'm going to choose my path and I'm going to show it in the way that I want to show it. Okay, so how do we accomplish this? I'll speak faster. Sorry, I'm being long-winded. One way is through professional development, and I recognize that this is a very wordy slide, so I'll only hit a couple important points. One of them is with partnerships. Partnerships are what allow us to learn from what other districts are doing and from what educational institutions beyond Hermosa Valley have kind of taken on as their mission, but empowering us to really think kind of beyond the scope of our standards in individual topics or subjects. People like Dr. Orange through UCLA Center X charging us to think about the perspective of the student. So how would you say this student would receive this piece of information? How could you present it so this particular student could receive this information? Our staff meetings, the one today even, was focused on data review. So taking a look at these scores and really becoming reflective of our practice as educational professionals and seeing what's working for kids, what could we do better, where are the gaps. And actually today, when we looked at all of the data, what I asked teachers to do in grade level was come up with 3 questions that you have about the data. And I thought one was really great. It was, where do we go from here? And the goal wasn't to answer the questions. It was about asking the questions. And the fact that that was born from the staff is just another example of how Team Valley views their professional practice. That, great, we have this information, we're armed with it. What do we do next? They're just kind of ready to run with the ball. Teacher planning days, special education collaboration, which is something Morgan Grillo is going to talk about in a second. And then we have a couple of new things that are upcoming. One is day in the life of a student. So it's going to be volunteer basis for staff members to follow a kid's schedule. We're going to do it on a non-mile run day, just for fairness and like accessibility. But that the teacher has to go to all of the classes. So I actually kind of piloted this myself a couple of weeks ago. And what I realized was, this is something I had taken part in a previous district, but what I realized is, us as teachers, we're pretty far removed from that learning process, and the code switching that kids go through, or the transition time from, now we're going to talk about the most important part of American history, to like, now we're going to graph the most important linear equation. There's a lot of code switching that goes into that. And so I think just reminding ourselves of what students go through so we can speak knowledgeably about their experience and not necessarily be so removed. In addition to instructional rounds, getting our wonderful, amazing, fantastic Hermosa professionals out of their classroom and into other teachers' classrooms. So that's something that we're working with. In addition to wellness partnerships, we really can't do any of this work if our students' foundational needs are not being met. So acknowledging the fact that they're coming from a place of not just being a student in your class, but a kid with a dog who we lost last week, or a grandpa who's sick, so I think recognizing that this whole human approach is really imperative in order for us to be successful. And I think defining success across multiple measures is important to me as well at Valley, as well as the teachers. Ms. Grillo is going to talk about flexible classrooms, so I'll just be very brief, but we have a plethora of flexible classrooms. These are like some peace sign throwing up awesome humans sitting on couches. Looks very different than the way that I learned in rows when I was in school, but it really offers that approach to collaborate, or that opportunity for students to collaborate. And the third one that I think is super near and dear to my heart, that is special education. And I want to credit Sylvia Gluck for really kind of educating our community, our teacher community, our paraeducators, and committing to this process of inclusive practices and what inclusion does for our students, ensuring that every kid, no matter where they're entering, has an opportunity to learn in general education setting, and supporting our teams with professional development that I spoke about earlier with organizations such as To Teach. So I'll let you, these are paraeducators enjoying our negotiated tacos. Thank you, Dr. Johnson, at one of our spirit games. So before I kind of go on, I want to invite Miss Grillo and Madison Young, our student, come on up. So what I think is important is I feel really honored to be able to present to you whenever it's my turn, but I also think it's important to hear from the people on the ground that are doing the actual work. And Ms. Grillo, I'm going to pass to you first, but I gave them kind of both an overarching prompt of like, what is personalized learning to you? Why do you feel that it's important? And then maybe give an example. So kind of bounce to you.
Yeah, okay. So just introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Morgan Grillo. I am the 5th and 6th grade special education teacher at Valley. And as you know, personalized learning is really important for all students, but especially those in special education, because it allows students a different way to learn, and it expresses their abilities rather than eliminates their disabilities. So in a lot of classrooms, we're seeing a lot of great success for these students who really need the support just to show their strengths rather than their weaknesses in different areas. And so we're seeing a lot of motivation, the willing to want to do something rather than not wanting to do something. So we're seeing some great projects in 5th grade, one being the passion projects, where students right now, they're on their trimester 2 project. So they can pick a person or a historical event that they want to research on, and then make a project on it, a speech, and do it in their own way, a way that they can learn and then present what they know and what they found to their classmates. And it's been a great way to have students just show their interest. So they're all doing the same thing, but just in a different way. Another thing, like Jessica was talking about, is flexible seating. So in my classroom, we have a lot of flexible seating that just gives students opportunities of a different place to learn. We're seeing that in a lot of 5th grade classrooms and now in middle school as well. And we're kind of going from what it used to look like to a new way. And we're seeing great growth with a lot of students of just not only being comfortable, but just not held to a high pressure of themselves to always have to do what they think is expected, that maybe they can't always perform as, but in a comfortable place with maybe a bouncy chair to help them focus and actually get the paper written. So that's been really great to see. Another thing is in 5th grade classrooms, we're doing academic stations. So say there's a math lesson or a writing lesson, we have small group instruction. So like in Miss Vizzy's classroom, she really does this a lot, where she'll work with students. They'll have an independent workstation. They'll collaborate with students. They'll do like an online game. So there's different ways that students are learning that fosters each students' growth. So we're seeing a lot of great things. It's been really positive, and thank you for having me.
Hi, my name is Madison Young. Okay, so personalized learning is a modern approach to education that focuses on every student's individual needs and learning styles. It involves tailoring curriculum, teaching methods, and a learning environment to suit each student's pace, interest, and abilities. The goal of personalized learning is to create a more engaging and effective learning experience for students, enabling them to achieve their full academic potential. Teachers play a crucial role in implementing personalized learning programs as they're responsible for creating a safe and nurturing learning environment that enables students to thrive. Personalized learning is an educational approach that aims to cater to each student's unique learning style, strengths, and interests. It encompasses various techniques and tools such as adaptive learning software, online resources, and project-based assignments. This approach empowers students to take ownership of their learning as they receive tailored instruction that allows them to progress at their own pace. The ultimate goal of personalized learning is to help students achieve their full potential by providing with the support, guidance, and resources they need to succeed. Personalized learning to me is an approach to education that takes into account the unique abilities, interests, and learning styles of each individual student. It recognizes that one-size-fits-all approaches rarely work in classrooms, and that tailoring instruction to the needs of each student can lead to better outcomes. This approach can involve a variety of strategies, including project-based learning, individual instruction, and the use of including project-based learning of technology and personalized lessons. Ultimately, the goal of personalized learning is to help every student reach their full potential and become lifelong learners. Personalized learning is crucial because it allows students to receive education in a way that fits their needs and learning style. By tailoring instruction to each student, teachers can create an environment where students feel comfortable, engaged, and motivated to learn. When students are invested in their education and able to learn in a way that works for them, they often see improvements in academic performance and personal growth. Moreover, the personalized learning helps students to develop skills that will serve them well beyond the classroom, such as critical thinking, problem solving, and self-directed learning. For instance, in a math classroom, a teacher may use personalized learning to help students who struggle with certain concepts. One student may benefit from hands-on activities or visual aids, while another may prefer with a tutor or in a small group setting. By identifying each student's needs and preferences, teachers can provide targeted instruction that helps each student succeed. The teacher may use technology such as math apps or online tutorials to personalize lessons for students who learn best digitally. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's important for me to note that I asked Madison to be here for this at lunch today. So, and
Terrific job.
she was absent yesterday and we didn't have an opportunity to connect. But I was like, hey, just super quick, can you tell me your experience with personalized learning? And this is what she produced. She wrote us a paper. So we're here if you have any questions.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you. It was fantastic. Do we have any questions? Start on this side.
Great job. Great presentation.
Yeah. Yeah, please, Quinn.
I imagine there must be a tension. So first of all, kudos, right? Personalized learning. I love the topic and the concept and the idea of trying to deliver a tailored experience for each student. It intuitively just makes a ton of sense. And I'm trying to, something you said, Principal Bledsoe, about, not the learning environment I grew up with, all the rows and stuff like that. What would you say to somebody who grew up in that kind of environment and said, I know what group work is like. Group work means 3 people slack off while one person does all the work. Like, what would you say to folks who are skeptical about, the effectiveness of some of these newer approaches?
Yeah, I mean, I think I had this conversation earlier this week, so not with you, might I add. But I think what's really awesome about education is that it's ever changing. So I think the great part about being an educator and being kind of responsible for the learning of these fantastic students is that we get to evolve. So I would probably say, like, what's your comfort level with the standards aligned Common Core for math in the 7th grade? And we kind of gauge your interest there. But I think, to me, for instance, I had a teacher share with me, Jessica Whitlock, You're not going to be walking around every day with a calculator. And I'm like, you know what? So I think that it makes sense to question. I grew up, and when I got my teaching credential, we were still teaching content standards for AP biology for phone book memorizers, and that's how I went to school, right? So, like, what's the function of a ribosome? Protein synthesizer. What's the and now it's how does I've used this example, but like how does a ribosome and the chloroplast connect, and explain it through the endosymbiont theory? Like, that's what Madison will have to do. So she can Google the definition of a ribosome and know that it's a protein synthesizer. But it's really up to us as educators to evolve with technology. Jason Coleman is going to be presenting to us on AI, which is also an interesting topic when we talk about evolution of education. But I feel like my answer to you would be like, I'd love for you to come see it. Like, come see it. Let's talk about it. Let's walk the campus and see what your vibe is and how you feel after experiencing it. But the world is different than what we grew up in, and it's exciting. It's also really challenging to teach thinking because it's not necessarily content. We talked about in social studies, academic vocabulary. Students are expected to analyze, discern, compare, contrast, evaluate. And so it's our responsibility to like, please evaluate that. And you're like, well, how do I do that? Is that defining it? Well, no, it's evaluating it. So it's our responsibility to teach that academic vocabulary in practice. I don't want students to just be able to mathematically tell us how to dilute a substance by 10%. That'll help with tipping one day. But like, I want them to be able to know that we have to add water to dilute. Like, that is practical application knowledge. And that's what I feel like Hermosa is aiming to do.
Thanks.
Well,
And thanks for coming as well, Ms. Grillo and Madison.
Thank you.
All right, we have a question back.
Sorry,
here.
just another question. It's just it's a comment or just a request. If you can continue to kind of bank all these personalized learning examples, I think both for the staff and for just like the history of where we're taking this program in Hermosa, I think it'd be a really good, at some point, continuous case studies and examples. So thank you for sharing that tonight. And thanks for the two of you for being here.
Appreciate it. Dr. Johnson.
Thank you. Great job.
Yes, thank you. All of you.
I can also, I volunteered in Miss Heath's class a couple weeks ago, and they went for a group project, and I can attest that those boys were pulling their weight. Good job.
All right, we're good with announcements. All right, moving on to public comment, communication. Public comments from the audience to the board. I am not seeing anybody in the chambers. Do we have anybody on the virtual?
No virtual comments.
All right, we are closing the public comments and we'll move on to superintendent update.
Thank you. And again, thank you to the Valley team and students. Madison Young, who's one of the students you saw there, serves on the Superintendent Advisory Council, and she is dynamite. And you just seen one aspect of how amazing she is. She very quickly became in charge of the Superintendent's Advisory Council. So yeah, she's a lot of fun to work with. Madison Young. Yeah, she's dynamite. She's the next Eva for sure. All right. First off, a big thank you to the PTO and the community for Read Across America. It was a great opportunity. I teamed up with the big guy, Mike Detoy. We had a lot of fun with each other and saw a lot of community members from Paula Barron to Mayor Jackson. We had authors come. I mean, you name it, we had it. And then all of our parents. So it was just a great day. It's a lot of work. Jessica Jacobs is the quarterback for that. And she helped bring in Nat Rocker, who is our Holocaust speaker. So she's just a really dynamic parent. And thanks to her and the PTO. So it's a lot of work to coordinate.
Yeah.
So super awesome. Next, we had our California Distinguished Schools luncheons. Kudos to Hillary and her teams at Hermosa View and Vista. We had tacos. That's a big hit, as you know, in Hermosa. But it was good. Nice to celebrate that. Kudos to Dinah, who put it all together. We had flags up, but it was a lot of fun. So thank you for that. Just second, Science Olympiad placing 10th. You know, that's a big deal. I I said this last year, but I'll say it again, that you mean like at my former middle school, like, you know, we had Science Olympiad like every year. We never finished that high. Like it's impressive. Like our Science Olympiad TAM, is solid.
Oh, the seventh school, 10th in teams, but seventh school.
Yeah. I like it's very, like our finishings are very impressive. I hope everyone understands how challenging it is and to finish like that. So big kudos to Hannah Loth as well too. I know Gina Shannon was involved, but Hannah's been running it for years now, and she's just really kept the program going. So it's kudos. Doug, I know you were there, so thanks, because I know it's a long day. So thank you for that. All right, we got a lot of events coming up. So Toot will be in the colors for St. Patty's Day Parade on Saturday, 3/11. Me and the principals will be in hopefully a sweet ride, giving out, not throwing, but giving out soft little Hermosa Beach Dolphins. We dedicated. The design was not board approved. I just have to put that out there. Yeah, they're squishies. I texted Maggie and said that we dedicated them to her. Next, on 3/13, the Cyber Cop is giving an parent education night, and that's also going to be about the risks and dangers of social media and selling fentanyl. So we're kind of like combining that message of what he does with social media for parents, along with education about fentanyl and how drugs being sold via social media, which I know Chief LeBaron has talked a lot about it at his parent evenings as well. On Saturday, 3/18, Hermosa will be represented at the State of the Arts run by Indivisible Arts. And this is just continuing to work our partnership with Raphael, who recently just won Hermosa's Person of the Year. And then on Thursday, 3/23, it is the second annual Ice Cream Staff Social. I will be out scooping ice cream, wearing a vest and a hat. Lots of fun. Board, you are welcome to come join and have a scoop of ice cream with staff. And that'll be at Hermosa View. Then on Thursday, 3/23, the same night, we will be hosting Leadership Hermosa and giving our presentation, educating tomorrow's leaders about our schools, which is always a lot of fun. Then that Saturday, it's Hearts of Hermosa. I was out at View today handing out flyers, pumping people up. We were wearing, it's a winter chalet is the theme. Is that right? Winter.
Yeah, ski après or après-ski. Après-ski. I don't know. I'm not from Canada.
Yeah. Quentin seems to know a lot about it. After skiing. Yeah. Yeah, Quentin says he likes it because it's just casual dress. So that's, so I'm looking forward to it. Hearts of Hermosa is a great night for the community, and all jokes aside, it really is. I very much equate to being like a community celebration of Hermosa and its schools. So really encourage you to come out. I know tickets are still available, so buy them now. And then finally, the Choose Hermosa Schools campaign continues to rock and roll. We're doing a lot of fun and interesting things, including those awesome, very orange yard signs. Sylvie and I got rained out, but I presented at the Chamber of Commerce, so we got a lot of requests for businesses to have our flyer. And then this is hot off the presses. Paul has come up with this idea about putting a magnetic sign on my car that says Choose Hermosa Schools and then how to enroll. So look brilliant, Paula. Look forward to that. We're going to be driving. Choose Hermosa Schools, ugly orange signs. No offense to Ray Jackson. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Look, we like the eye-popping orange, and like I said, we call it the Ray Jackson orange, and we like to be associated with the winners. That's good. So, that's all my updates. March is a busy month, and so there's a lot happening. So kudos to our staff. March is the desert of education. There's not a vacation in sight. So staff is working hard. People are grinding and doing great things for kids. So just a big thank you to Team Hermosa.
Yay. All right, excellent. Are there any questions for the superintendent on the update? All right, moving on to board reports. I will start at this end. Quinn, anything? Nothing? Jen? Kathy? No? All right, I have a couple that we'll talk about. The first one is, yes, I spend my more than entire Saturday at Science Olympiad at Rio Hondo College in Whittier, which was actually really awesome. We were there bright and early and it did not finish till late at night, but the team was really fantastic. The job that Miss Loth does with the Science Olympiad, and Miss Shin too, but as you said, mainly Miss Loth and Miss Burrell is helping also. It was really, really fantastic. We were the 7th school, one more place, like 5 points off from making state this year. It was like this close. We were the 10th team. It was really impressive. I want to give a quick shout out to our medal winners because I have the honor of having a twice medal winner in my house. So we had many medal winners, which go to the top 6 teams in each of the categories. And everybody did a fantastic job. All the kids did amazing. It was really great to see them kind of in their element. But we had Ellie Gardner and Nora Chow were both double medal winners in forestry and Rhodes Scholar, 4th in forestry and 6th in Rhodes Scholar. We had Dylan Haight and Connor Candelis. I think I'm saying that right. Were 4th or 5th place in roller coaster. The roller coaster actually finished, so we're very proud of that. The ball made it all the way down, which is awesome. And the highlight was Dylan Haight, which is our only 5th grader on Science Olympiad team, and Amia Sai were 1st place in Find It, Write It, something like that. I don't remember the exact name, but they were 1st place at with the 5th grader. And Amia Sai, who's an 8th grader, 1st place at the Science Olympiad. So that was super cool. It was awesome to be there the whole day with the team and, see, as I said, everybody in their element and do so fantastically. So great job to everybody on the Science Olympiad. My other item is we did have our budget workshop last week, which was really good and a good discussion by the board. A couple of things that came out of the budget workshop that we want to share with everyone. First and foremost, I know Paula will go into this in detail when she's up there all ready to go with her second interim report. That the district is in a good fiscal position, and that's mainly due to the hard work of everybody up here and everybody back at the district office and all the school sites. We are in a good position there. We had a long and I thought very fruitful discussion around facility needs. We are looking now, our last facility assessment was completed back in 2014. And, we are now basically 10 years later. So we're now starting to look at evaluating our facility needs over the next 10 years now that the main Measure S program is complete, and where do we go from here? So we had a long and fruitful discussion about that. That discussion will be continued at our April board meeting. The board has asked Dr. Johnson and the team to bring facility needs and an initial evaluation of that to the board at our April meeting. And we will provide further direction from there. So we are looking forward to that discussion next month. And then finally, we talked about goal development, budget, and program planning. The district, the team, Paula and Jason will be working over the next couple of months, and they will return to the board with a proposed budget and programs based on feedback from the board, the staff, and the community. The next board workshop is currently scheduled for April 20th, but we'll be talking about that date later, potentially rescheduling that, but it'll be coming at you late April, early May. We'll be further refining the goal development to give direction to the team to finish those goals and the budget as we look to approve those in June. So we look forward to all those discussions continuing in April. So if there's nothing further on board reports, we'll move on to superintendent report and board discussion, starting with R-34-2223. The second interim report, Ms. Montalvo.
Thank you. Good evening, board. I'm here to report out on the second interim reporting, which is on all the financial transactions through the end of January. Oops. So we're focusing here on community and financial stewardship, of course. The summary for the second interim report, the governor's budget proposal includes an 8.13 state funding increase, which is included in the multi-year projections that you're going to see in a little bit. Hermosa's projected enrollment has increased, as was shared in the enrollment update in January, which also has improved the multi-year outlook. And as Doug indicated, this leaves the district in good financial standing at the end of the second interim report. Oops. So this is just an overarching of the second interim report for 22-23. I want to highlight the net surplus of $105,000, and that does include the negotiated salary increases and health and welfare increases as well. At a glance here, you can just see what's been baked into those numbers, the projected state funding COLA for multi-years, and also our projected enrollment. Here, when you look at the multi-year projections, again, want to just draw your attention to the net surplus across the board. We're in good standing. We're in positive net surplus, and the reserves remain within the state reserve average for elementary school districts. So again, that's leaving us in a good financial position moving forward. Any questions?
Thank you, Paula. Any questions? I'll start on this end. Kathy, Jen, Quinn, any questions? All right, thank you. Yeah, we went through this all in depth last week, so
It's a recap.
that's the recap. Yeah, I know the item is coming up, but as always, Paula, fantastic job.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the next superintendent report and board discussion, R-35-2223, the special education update. Ms. Gluck.
Thank you. Good evening. Today, I'm here to talk to you about special education. There are 3 highlights that we'll be talking about today when we look at the slide deck. One is our academic performance of our students in special ed as they compare to our general education students. Opportunities for expansion with inclusion. I know Jessica talked a little bit about that today. And what collaboration looks like with our special education team. Our summary shows that there are 3 areas that we can look at. One is that we'll need to increase staffing based on inclusion and our growth of a preschool and our student population. We also have maintained our scores in language arts, and that we do show some areas that we need to grow in the area of math and science with our special education students as we look at our scores. We are on target for doing well in regards to our benchmarks with iReady. When we look at special education, we're looking at 2 of our goals. Excellence and inclusion are both primary focuses that we're looking at. We believe all of our students deserve an excellent education, and we believe all students need to be included in the general education curriculum. When you look at our academic performance on CASP, you can see that our special education as well as our general education, we maintained our scores. This is an area that we did very well in the maintenance during COVID and moving forward. When we look at math, though, we do see a discrepancy. Our general education students did maintain their scores, but our students with special needs, we do see a decrease. And so this performance is not equitable in regards to where our general education students were at. You can see on the little box just our number of special education students that were tested each year as well. In regards to science, this is an opportunity that we have in our district to move forward with.
with our general education as well as our special education students. We do see significant learning loss that occurred between 2019 and 2022, and we are looking at addressing this with the science committee as well as with accommodations with our special education students. One thing I think that I'm most proud of our district is the implementation of benchmarks through iReady. They have been able to show us where our students are at and where they likely will be targeted at the end of the school year. The line that is on the graph does show between 2022-23 and 21-22. What I'm primarily looking at is the first trimester for each of those years. As you can see, in ELA, we've maintained all as well in iReady, but we also showed a growth in iReady with our special education students. In the area of math, once again, we had a maintenance in general education, and we are seeing that our students are increasing our special ed population with our iReady data. The one thing I like about iReady is that we do take different marks throughout the year, so we can track our students and we don't have to just wait for the summative assessment at the end of the school year. In regards to our academic performance with CASP, you can see the 2 years back to back. We did have an increase of 5% with our special education students. We are hoping to have a 5% growth, 3 to 5% is what we are looking at. I have decided that we are going to look at 5% because we're doing a lot of work with special education this year. So these are projected areas that we'd like to be at. Our academic performance in regards to ELA, we've already had a 6% growth with iReady. And then when you look at that 6% growth and we're going to add those 5%, that's where we would like to end up at. So as you can see with our iReady performance, our students are already on an upward trajectory. In regards to math, we had a 9% increase. We are still looking at that 5% minimum growth that we'd like to see with our special education students. I think this graph is really nice because it does summarize where we're at in regards to where we maintained our academic performance in ELA. It does show our learning loss in math and science, but it does show the progressive movement we're making and the growth we're making with iReady data, which is nice to see. We will have some iReady scores for you at the next board meeting because we are currently in our second trimester assessment for iReady. This is the work that I'm excited and proud about. So you see the smile on my face. When we look at inclusion and we talk about inclusion, it just seems like a really broad topic. But when you look at this graph, it's really broken down very specifically how inclusion can be done and the different levels it needs to happen at in order for it to work. Without administrative leadership and support, inclusion is not going to happen. And then we also need our teachers to get on board as well. But part of that includes the dedicated collaboration and planning and the problem solving. This is a group effort and we need all of our members of our team to be on board so we can move forward. We already have our multi-tiered systems of support in place and we continue to grow those areas. And we started our collaboration class this year in math and it's been very successful. And Ms. Grillo, it's all about mindset and having positive people on your team. When I brought it up last year, she was like, sure, I'll try it. And it's been very successful. Continue to work with personalized learning and differentiated instruction. We need all our teachers to participate in this. And we need to make sure all students have access and success for their curriculum. Now, this is the work we actually are doing in our district. And I look forward to this list growing, but you can see the various areas that we are working on. I think the work that we're doing that is the most meaningful right now is on the collaboration and planning and problem solving, where we have a lot of professional development that we're working with administration, teachers, and paraeducators. This is a whole group effort that we're working on. It's not happening in a silo, and every person's dialogue is important in regards to making this work meaningful. We continue to work with our principals and our staff in regards to multi-tiered support. We want to track our students who aren't doing well, and we want to provide them with the tools they need so we can see success and growth. The co-teaching is an area, and collaboration classes is what we'd like to focus on in the middle school next year. And we're working closely with members of our special education team, as well as Jessica Bledsoe, especially on the scheduling piece. That's really important to get that scheduling piece. We'll continue our work with iReady, differentiated instruction, small group learning. That's really important for this work. And then embracing our students to be the best that they can be. That's my favorite slide. Just thought I'd share that. But it doesn't happen without collaboration, and collaboration has to happen at all levels. So we have collaboration of administration, our special education team, and our general education teachers. How does that happen? Through professional development, through meetings, through communication, with collaborative agendas. Everyone gets to participate, and it's finding the time in our schedule to make it happen. And I feel this year we've done an excellent job on providing our paraeducators with the support they need, our special education team, as well as our administrators and our general education teachers. Along with the collaboration, you can see the areas that we're focusing on. It's inclusion, compliance, achievement, and intervention. So when you look at the various areas of professional development, you can see what we have done this year just in regards to special education. Inclusion, I feel, is our biggest push to getting everyone on board and understanding the reason why we're doing what we're doing. Achievement is important. It is one of our goals, but we are really looking at our data and providing intervention for our students so we can go ahead and close that gap. And that collaboration piece. Jason and I have been going to some meetings also with our paraeducators as well to let them know that we're on their team and that we're there to support them, as well as our special education meetings. In regards to budget, special education is mandated, but it's also not 100% funded correctly. I wish we had all the money that we needed to fund our programs, but I'm very thankful that we do set money aside in our general education budget to assist with our special education program. You can see our historical budgeted years, how we're coming in, and what percent of students we have in special education. We are increasing our students who have been in special education, but it is at a rate of growth as well with our student population because we're growing our student numbers. Also with the learning loss that happened during COVID, we've been able to maintain our numbers in special education at a 10.5. Most school districts at this time are 12% or higher. So I'm happy with the work we're doing there. With that though, staffing proposals for next year, because of inclusion and we're increasing to add our preschoolers, we will need to go ahead and look at some options for staffing. And you can see the opportunities that we have to increase our program to make it a little bit more robust and to serve the 3 through 5-year-old students. One area that I really am looking is to bring back these paraeducators 1 week before school so they can learn about their students' IEP and they can learn about what best practices are for a paraeducator and to receive registered behavior technician training, as well as get more information on data collection and how to do it more efficiently so they can help other students in the class. Questions? Sure.
Yes, please.
It's more because I'm a new school board member and I have mentioned this to Jason. Is there anything that we can do as a board or as citizens of California to get more funding for special ed? It's like half of it is being funded. I mean, it's an unfunded mandate basically, because how does that even exist in our society? Is there anything that we can do? I know it's a stupid question.
It's not a stupid question. You can do policy. You can do a resolution. We can, I feel like we're just like laying down and saying, yeah, that's all we're gonna get. So let's just deal with it. I wish that there was something that we could do to the state and say, yeah, the feds are giving us X amount of dollars, but you need to step up so that we can really serve these kids that need service.
Yeah, so we pursue funds on the local level, and we've secured quite a few grants. Thank you, Sylvia, for funding for professional development and added supports or reimbursement supports. The challenge that I share with the board when it comes to special education funding is that it is a federal law that doesn't have the funding from the federal government does not equivocate to the funding necessary to enact that law. And there's a discrepancy. And special education advocates, call it the unfunded mandate, and they've even calculated out what the federal government provides. I believe these days it's like 30% of the fund as a funded mandate. Because it's a federal law, it makes it further removed from local advocacy. That does not mean there's nothing to be done, but it does make it more of a challenge. And I'd always encourage the board to advocate for greater dollars for federal special education.
Agreed. Jen, any questions?
Yeah, no, I just had a question on, can you go back to page 6? It's, I'll tell you my question. So when we get to there, we can.
Okay, it's the
I
science.
believe it's the California science testing.
Yeah. So what, just because we're hovering and, in the SPED section for language arts, math, and science is just a whole nother question, but for language arts and math, what is an average? Like for us, we're at like 40%, but is that high, low compared to like other districts? And I don't know what our.
I can get that number for you later, Jen, on a Friday update, because the state does have a number that we can get for you.
And then are the students that are considered SPED in this?
Yes.
In there, the 29 here, was it more in the other two sections? Because this is just 5th grade is just
so science is only 5th and 8th grade that we assess.
But the other one, go back one slide, just out of curiosity, the math.
There,
page 5. So 86. So of those 86 students, do we know what is it like, like I would say a speech student would be a real moderate, like mild. So I would think that student almost could be a gen ed student in many capacities, but it's different when you have different designations of special ed, all sorts of different categories, and you kind of lump it into one here. I guess I'm curious is like, of these 86 SPED students, is that 40% high or 31% high or low, or are they speech and language students mainly? Are they severe student? What's the?
I don't know, to be specific, if we can calculate out the disabilities that they qualify under with their primary disabilities with their CASP score.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's an option for us to look at.
But
we can find out
to
about
clarify on the question, though, you're just saying of the special education population themselves, what is the breakdown and eligibility criteria?
Yeah, because I think, I actually can't tell if this is a good number or like we have room to grow, or we're actually like really crushing it, because the ability it's going to be challenging to get to 74%, but to get to 40% is great.
I can address that on 2 fronts. Diana, can you go to slide 24 in the appendix of this presentation? So there in the appendix is a breakdown of our eligibility. And then as far as the performance levels, about a year and a half ago, the board asked us to provide South Bay data to compare our special education performance with the rest of the South Bay. And we were high middle of the pack. And what we can do is we can go back in a Friday update and prepare that comparison with the latest test scores. At the time, I believe we had to base it off of iReady because that's what was available.
Yeah. So I'm like, if I'm just as like, I look at this chart and I go, okay, well, the majority of the kids are speech and language, right? So,
Mhm.
but these other disability categories, that I mean, 31 plus 29, that's plus 20, 31 plus 29. I would say those two numbers, that's like almost 60 kids, right? Yeah, that's tough that's a tough band to move.
I definitely agree that a speech eligibility is very different from eligibilities such as OHI, SLD, intellectual disability. Like we're talking about a very different type of IEP as a primary. I mean, a lot of times an SLD has a secondary as a speech. And yes, I also agree that the majority of our students that qualify are mild to moderate still by eligibility, but are impacted. You mean like their academic performance is impacted, and that does make their performance more difficult to achieve, particularly for standardized testing.
Right.
So standardized testing itself is a certain type of measure that students with disabilities struggle on.
So my question then, I think this is me unpacking this, would be like, would we try to move 40 these speech and language impaired students, and I would say autistic students? Could you try to focus your like energy towards like, let's, see if we can move that band of students in a, up the percentage there, if we know we're maybe not going to make as many gains some other places?
Yeah, when we look at how to move students, and particularly looking at what we're doing is analyzing iReady data, we look at it interventions by the basis of student performance and less so by the eligibility. It doesn't mean that we can't start to look at it by eligibility in your case, because for program building, you mean like that might serve as well too. So that's certainly something that we can look
It's
into.
just a thought. I was
Absolutely.
just like, because then I'm like, at science, I'm like, to me, it just says our science program in the past has been is potentially struggled in lots of ways, but we're working on making improvements to that. So I think in general, we're expecting to see all tides rise with science.
And also just this year too, we also have interim assessments available in the area of science where that has not been available in the past. So they did release those this year. And I know Hermosa Valley was going to participate in looking at some of those interim assessments in the area of science.
And I would just wonder, this is just again, another wondering, are we giving enough professional development to the science teachers 5 through 8 or K through 8 to service students with special needs? Maybe there's other science tools that we could give, other strategies that were like, it's just a thought. And then my last question would be, are there other districts around that are showing more growth? And I don't know if we have data comparison, but more growth in these areas than and we could just understand what they're doing in their programs. Now, I think about when Andrea Biddick was working at Washington, we did have a large growth in SPED for those 3 years. And I know she was a very special ed focused principal, but it's just something like I always was they made a lot of growth somehow.
Yeah, so in the answer to the first question, science, the answer is absolutely. And that we know we have room to grow. We know we have room to support our teachers with meeting the needs of special education students. And we have admittedly focused on ELA and math for special education intervention. So we recognize that we have work to do. A lot of the work with the science team has been about program specifically, which we do feel will benefit the needs of all learners. But that is for sure when feedback received. We agree that there is work to be done about how to make it accessible for all. That's one of the reasons we've looked at CoLab and inclusion as a model to provide more support within the room. And then in regard to other models, the answer is yes. I mean, in fact, we're doing a site visit, I think in spring to, was it a charter, Sylvia, that we're going to look at?
We did charters.
Yeah, that has a model that we're interested in. We've actually got requests to come visit our model. With performance, one of the things that we've kind of danced with when we looked at that data for self-pay performance before is that we did notice that some of the districts that had higher performance also had higher percentages of special education, like they were a lot higher than number of students that they had identified, which is hard to tell just to your point about eligibility criteria, right? So is it because of their model or is it because there's a wider berth of students that are on the more mild to moderate side that have qualified for whatever reason? So we definitely believe in getting out there. We work with our SELPA in order to compare practices, and then we're trying to actually break out of our SELPA because we feel that we're hitting some new ground. And so that's why we've looked a little bit into the charter world.
Right. Great. And then my last thing is the dyslexia training. Is that something we've given to staff or we're going to give to them?
We've participated in it with K through 2, K and 1 staff this year.
Great.
Through our partners in iReady, there is a screener that we can look at. And we did do a training with that, and we have are looking at it and continue to grow that with the screeners. And so we get that when we do a diagnostic in ELA, and then you can do further work with students to see where they're at. And then it specifically breaks it down what area of reading that a student is struggling, and then it provides direct instruction in that specific area. So you can target where a student is missing a piece of their like reading awareness.
And are we allowed to use that dyslexia iReady assessment as like part of the like, could a teacher be like, well, the screening told me there was something going on?
We don't use it for a special education assessment, but we do use it to target it for like a tier 2 intervention for any student who needs it. We are using a lot of the tools in iReady to help with writing IEP goals because it's very specific and very data driven. And so we can actually get a lot of growth in those areas with the teachers, special education teachers supporting the student, as well as the general education, because iReady is available to special education and general education. And the classroom teacher can look at it every day.
So if we wanted to do a dyslexia screening in 2nd grade, that wouldn't be the tool we would be using. But would it alert you as a staff member?
It does alert you with a flag that you receive. So you can an administrator can run a report, and we can pull that report and share it with the school site team. And then they would go forward with doing additional screenings based on where the student fell and in what specific area. And then they can provide that specific instruction in a personalized learning in their classroom. It could be done as a general tier 2 intervention in the classroom.
Right. Thanks. Thank you so much. Really great work.
All right, Quinn, any questions?
Yeah, I'm curious for whether you have any community feedback on how we're doing with special ed. I don't hear much myself. Maybe no news is good news. I know a friend of ours has 3 kids that are split across different schools and keep one of their kids that has special needs in the public school system and is very, very happy, but that's not our district. That's a neighboring one. I'm curious whether we have a good read on whether our consumers feel good about what we're doing.
I think we're doing really well. Our SELPA is doing an award ceremony that we could, a parent with a student with an IEP can nominate, and we've had several. I think we have 4 or 5 of our staff members who have not been notified yet that will be receiving awards. So that does share that we are doing a good job because our parents are nominating. They can nominate an administrator, special education provider, or a general education teacher who is supporting a special education teacher. And I'm proud of the work our staff is doing because we have several nominations. And Jason and I will be going to that award ceremony. I believe it's in March sometime.
All right. Thank you, Sylvia. All right, moving on to R-36-2223, the safety and wellness update. Dr. Johnson.
Good evening, board. I am following up. This is the safety and wellness update number 3. This is a follow-up to our efforts in order to make sure that our campuses are safe for all students, staff, and families, as well as, in my view, the most important thing you can do in order to ensure safety is to ensure a strong school climate and lots of social emotional supports in order to meet the needs of all of our students, families, and staff. Take you back with our first update. We did a comprehensive safety assessment in August 2022. Do you mind moving that cursor for me, Dinah? Thanks. And we constructed, from that, we had a series of short-term actions, intermediate and long-term. We have been working on some construction projects, safety preparedness and wellness programs that are successfully in progress. And then just recently, we completed our second leg of climate survey data, where we use Panorama in order to assess the social emotional well-being, as well as some of our diversity and inclusion efforts. All right, so tonight before the board will be the comprehensive safety plan for approval. The safety plan was done with the school site council. It was made up of staff and parents. It is a large plan to be updated, and we have annual goals. Those annual goals you see there are reflective of many of the efforts we've been making with our updated safety plan. All right, so just to dive a little deeper, one of the efforts that we were doing was the public services collaboration. So we've been working with the Hermosa police chief as well as the Valley principal. And then the mutual, we reached out to Redondo Beach and Manhattan Unified in order to create mutual aid understandings to support in the event of an intruder on campus. And then finally, through our tabletop exercise, we've created a crisis communication list that is comprehensive. So pretty much every city official, education leader, and police or emergency responder, we have a comprehensive list of each other's personal contacts that's available for those people in the event of an emergency. No need to, in that moment, to be like, how do I get a hold of? We have the list. Nancy is here, and we've been busy at work completing safety projects from our comprehensive assessment. There you see just a few, such as door and window frostings or hallway mirrors. These efforts will be continued over spring break. So there's a list of the projects to be completed, everything from bollards over at Hermosa Valley to updating our PA systems. Something to point out here is that there are other areas that were identified that we will not be completing in this round of projects, but it will require some substantial capital investment. And some of those things would be some of our perimeter fencing technology, and then some structural changes that were recommendations that we would need to seek more funds in order to accomplish those. We have been busy with training, so we doubled down this year on safety trainings for our staff, and there you see a list there. I was actually just recently at Hermosa Valley observing and giving feedback for their earthquake drill, which they did a comprehensive earthquake drill, including even testing out student release to parent, which is, I think, a great idea to practice. So we're really trying to get in the effort of not just performing the drills, but actually practicing the drills. And so I credit the staff and the principals for investing that time. It's time, to do that work. Principal Bledsoe and the Hermosa Valley team just recently conducted the signs of suicide screening. We had 4 risk assessments. This was conducted last year and presented to the board. And they continue to use their acronym system ACT, where it's an acknowledge, care, tell. This could apply to suicide risk, or you mean like a threat assessment for students that are just in need. And We're trying to build a culture among our students and our staff that, see something, say something. Watchdogs is another one of our community efforts in order to bring more eyes onto campus, and more importantly, to bring more nurturing onto campus. It's been very successful. Our dates have been filled, and there's been a lot of positive feedback. There you see one of our dads in the calming station reading with one of our students. I believe that's Miss Dillian's class. But it's just been very successful. And kudos to the dads too, because I do ballet at Hermosa Vista, so it's nice actually having a dad helping me out. Especially it's been raining, so me and the dad have been soaking wet. So next, I'm going to move into the panorama survey part, and this is again continuing to move with wellness. Want to emphasize that the best way to keep campuses safe is to keep students and staff and families healthy. If we are not spending 95% of our time on this aspect of wellness in order to keep our campuses safe, then we are very much missing the point of how to keep campuses safe. So panorama and our other climate measures we've really leaned into in the past few years coming out of the pandemic. What we noticed this year was there was a decline in sense of belonging by 8%, which I'll talk a little bit about why we think that might be. And then, school safety, in the free response, school safety continues to be a concern of parents. It is something that is on the minds of our families. So there you see a breakdown of our student survey. This is the percent favorable. So in response to questions about diversity and inclusion or sense of belonging, it's those that expressed a favorable response to how they feel about their experience on campus. And just something to point out with the sense of belonging is that we tweaked the questions for 6 through 8 this year, just because we thought they weren't as targeted as we wanted them to be for students at the middle school level. We don't know that this created that decline, but surely there is a difference in the questions, and we'd like to stick with these questions moving forward, but we were due for a change for sure. There you see on the family survey overall scores, and again, this goes back to April 2021. You mean which was year 1 of the survey, and then March 2022, year 2 of the survey, and February 2023, which is current. And you see a reflection of where the data is, I would say, mostly stayed the same in responses. But one thing that we are happy about is we saw a slight increase in favorability towards school safety.
Jason, what's the question that goes around school safety?
It's a construct, and that's also available, I believe, in the appendix of this presentation, which we can go to near the end. But the questions are available to look at. Sorry. There we go, staff. So there's your staff survey, and what we saw was an increase in sense of belonging, but a decrease in diversity and inclusion, as well as school safety. Those we're going to continue to lean into our survey feedback from with Dr. Orange for some of the whys behind that, and then there's some free response written comment. There was a low participation rate this year on the staff survey, so we're not sure if that is possibly responsible for that. In regard to school safety, we believe some of the feedback is less based on perimeter safety and more based on just managing and supporting student behaviors. As far as participation and when it comes to school safety and wellness, here is a plethora of ways that if you're a community member that you can get involved. I encourage you to reach out if you're interested. And then here are all the various ways to help. I really want to plug again, dads, if you're interested in getting involved, please volunteer to be a watchdog. It's just one day out of your time. I got the question of can't we just do a half day? No, you can do a full day. just it's really important that consistency through the day and dad's being seen across campus. You mean like and experiencing that with our students is just really, really important. And you're a hit. I'm telling you, especially even at the middle school campus, you're a hit. What's next? So our construction projects will continue during spring break that we presented to the board at our last meeting. We continue to meet with PD and the school leadership team, specifically Chief LeBaron, in order for a coordination. That's just ongoing. We've built a regular structure that we're meeting every other month now. And then we'll provide our next safety update to the board in August, right before the start of the school year. I just want to address that Jen brought up the question, so I'm going to flip through to the safety appendix. If that's not there, then I will follow up on a Friday update. There's your questions for school safety. Jen, I'm just going to flip forward to see if there was any others. Yeah, so that's sorry, still getting used to this. That's your construct for that score. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Quinn, any questions? Jen? Kathy? All right, excellent. Thank you. All right, moving on. Here we go. Consent. Do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Quinn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Consent calendar is approved. Moving on to board action. We will start with Superintendent S-33-2223. The 2023 California School Boards Association Delegate Assembly Election. Dr. Johnson.
Every year, we usually look at Maggie to ask her how to do this. Since she's not here, I'll take a crack at it.
All right, it's been fun.
So we need to vote for our state board delegates. There are 6 spots open and only 6 candidates. So unless you feel strongly about one of them, my recommendation to the board is the board unanimously vote for the 6 candidates that are available to fill those 6 seats.
Wow, South Whittier really is representing. Just so y'all know.
Whittier, those area ones tend to, really overly represent for these things. So I would tend to second Dr. Johnson's recommendation because I don't know any of these people.
So moved.
So are there any other thoughts or comments or changes? Like, does anybody know any of these people? I'm sure some of them are punks, but who knows?
Doug.
There's always one. But I know. Well, these are all school board members. That's who these people are.
Oh, I got here.
Exactly. So we know who our one is. So with that, Jen, do you move to
Let's move it on.
6 for 6?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So motion by Jen, second by Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We will vote for all 6. Congratulations. All right. Moving on to Superintendent S-34-2223, the comprehensive safety plan. Ms. Gluck.
Annually, every year, we approve a safety plan, which is approved effective March 1st, 2023. Some major areas that we updated this year was our active shooter, appendices and school safety goals, as well as the individual school safety plans. The plans available for staff, parents, and students to review if they wish to at each school site. So it's recommended that you approve the comprehensive safety plan.
Thank you, Ms. Gluck. Are there any questions on the comprehensive safety plan? Glenn, you good?
Thank you all for
Comments?
taking the time to revise it.
Yes, thank you. I know that's a lot of work.
Hmm.
So do we have then a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second? Thank you, Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. The comprehensive safety plan is approved. All right, we're rolling. Moving on. Superintendent S-35 2223 on the new preschool and expanded TK plan. Ms. Glock, here we go.
In compliance with California Assembly Bill AB 130, passed in 2021, HBCSD proposes to expand TK operations at Hermosa View. The district would continue phasing eligible students into the full-day program until all 4-year-olds within the district boundaries are enrolled by the 25-26 school year. HBCSD also proposes a new preschool program for 3- and 4-year-old children to commence at the start of the 23-24 school year. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the expanded TK and U preschool plan and the notice of exemption.
Thank you, Ms. Gluck. Are there any comments or questions on the TK and preschool plan? This way.
No, I read it and I just thought, well, my only comment is great job. It was like very comprehensive and down to like the schedule and what's going to be happening during the day. And if you have curiosity about what an awesome program it's going to be, you should just look at this program guide.
Yeah, sign your kids up. Get on that list, please. Glenn? All right. Yeah, no, fantastic job getting this all lined up, getting it all ready. And it's very, very exciting that this is actually finally happening. So amazing work by everybody. So then do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Quinn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right.
Yay.
Hey.
Big day.
Okay, moving on. Business B-66-2223. The home to school transportation service plan. Ms. Gluck.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the transportation plan as it relates to unduplicated students. The plan must be adopted by April 1st, 2023.
All right, excellent. Are there any comments, questions? All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Quinn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, we are really rolling now, man. Here we go. All right, moving on. B-67-2223, the 2223 second interim report. Paula, your turn.
Thank you. It is recommended that the board approve the second interim report as presented earlier.
All right, like it. Short and sweet. Any comments, questions?
Thank you for putting it together, Paula. Good job. Remember, don't forget to take your road show on the road.
Jen's going to hold you to that. All right, that's a motion. Thank you, Kathy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Quinn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Second report is approved. All right, you're moving, keep going. B-68-2223, the 2223 second interim budget revisions.
Approval is recommended for the budget revisions as noted in the second interim SACS document, the big documents that's provided.
Excellent. Any comments, questions?
It is a big document.
It is. Lots of numbers.
Lots of numbers.
All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Quinn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, B-69-2223, resolution number 10, 2223, the cow-shaped grant to provide energy efficient plumbing fixtures and appliances.
It is recommended that the board approve this resolution to allow the district to put our application in for potential funding. Nancy and Jay have been working endlessly to put the list together of fixtures that are eligible for this. So we'd like to apply and see if we can get some funding.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Amazing.
And thank you, Nancy. We know that's a long list. So much appreciated. All the hard work as usual. Any other comments, questions? Motion? Thank you, Kathy. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Jen. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Let's see if we can get some cash. Let's do it. All right, the next one's big cash. So let's go. B-70-2223, change order number 3, Hermosa View School Measure S project number 008. Oh,
As it's getting closer and closer every day to close out the Erickson Hall Measure S project, they're closing the View Contingency Fund, and this is change order number 3. And we are due $6,239.
Spend it.
nice. Spend it very wisely. All right. Are there any comments, questions? Seeing none, is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Cash that check. All right, moving on. B-71-2223, the Hermosa Valley School Gym Scoreboard. Paula.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the purchase and the installation of the new proposed scoreboard. You have a visual in your packet of what it potentially will look like with sponsored. This is going to be sponsored by HBYB. So we're hoping that you approve it this evening so we can get it ordered.
All right. Are there any comments, questions?
Thank you to our partners in the community. HBYB has been a big supporter of the district, and we're happy to provide facilities for them to keep our kids active. So thank you.
Yeah, they've been a great partner.
I love the HBYB. All 3 of my kids went through them.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Yay.
So
Yay.
it's awesome. They keep stepping up and helping
Good.
on our
Good
facility
action-
needs.
Action on their board part.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
They're great.
Yeah, they've been a huge supporter. Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Quinn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, new scoreboard coming.
I'm in.
Then a mural maybe in the gym. Maybe some bleachers. Dreams
7
come
at a time,
true.
Jen.
Dreams
7 at a
come
time.
true.
All right, moving on. B-72-2223, the purchase of phase 1 teacher laptops. All the fun stuff tonight.
Yeah. So it is recommended that the board approve the purchase of 25 HP Z-books. This will be phase 1 of updating our teachers' laptops that they use every day in their classrooms to teach the students.
All right, is there any comments or questions?
Teachers need them
Agreed.
for sure.
So moved.
All right, thank you, Jim. Moving on. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Quinn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Measure carries. All right, last one. B-73-2223, Sujan project proposal. Dr. Johnson.
Approval is recommended to approve the contract with Sujin Creative. They're going to do some media work for us and looking forward to collaborating with them. Worked with them a little bit at Redondo. They did a great job, and I think they're going to do a great job for us here too.
Comments, questions?
Just curious, what kind of content will they be generating? Where will we see it and use it?
Yep. So they will be creating a new district video for us. And they will be shooting B footage for us as well also, which we're always in need of B footage. When Eileen puts together her videos, it's actually not the content that we film that takes so forever. It's the B footage and gathering that up.
Can you explain what B footage is? I don't.
Yeah. So like if you, it's like when you're, a lot of times these videos are, my big ears and head talking. And so like between me talking, then it'll show footage of like the school. And it's really, to try to, in whatever video we're shooting, keep it kid centered, show our programs, show what we're doing in schools. Cause like, that's what people really want to see. And it's just colored by what we're explaining.
Got it. Thanks.
And maybe in our materials here, can you give us a sense of the spend that we'd be expecting to do?
The contract is not to exceed
$7,000.
$6,000.
Yeah.
$1,000.
It's very reasonable.
Yeah, it's really reasonable.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, they gave us the friendly deal.
Thank you. So moved.
All right, thank you, Jen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Quinn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. That was a lot of votes, but great job. All right. Okay, moving on. A board member round table. I'll start on this end. Quinn.
I don't have anything.
Nothing. Jen.
Nope, nothing right now.
Kathy.
Well, I think I should have done this in the board reports. I went to the Ed Foundation PTO meeting as the board representative. And they had some things that they wanted me to say, kind of. So,
Okay, fantastic.
should I have done it during the board reports?
Yes, but we're happy to hear it now.
There's not a lot, just that I think Jason already covered some of it, like that the Hearts of Hermosa is coming, it's 27 years strong. They're expecting about 400 people. Après ski wear. And then they're grateful to the Hermosa Beach Community Center for again hosting this event. And then they're grateful to all these restaurants and bars that are donating their food. And I'm not going to list them all because we're whatever. And then she also wanted to mention the View Bricks fundraiser, just like the bricks that were sold at the entrance of Vista. They're going to go live in April. And then the PTO, they had the read across, which you also talked about. And then they held a book drive. And they're donating used books to benefit the school and classroom libraries. And then they're also donating to underhoused and homeless students of Cabrillo Elementary in San Pedro. And they had a yum raiser at Starbird Chicken last week. And also save the date for the Dolphin Dash Jogathon fundraiser for all students on Saturday, April 29th at 9 a.m. So I'm just always impressed by people giving up so much time at Foundation and PTO. Those are my roots back in the day. So I love being part of that now, collaborating with them. So that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathy. I did have one item, which I alluded to earlier, which is really fantastic that we tried to plan everything so far ahead of time, but then, we realized what other things are on the calendar and whatnot. So I would like to propose to the board that we change the date of our April 20th goal workshop to push it back to either the following week or the week after. Currently is scheduled for the week after spring break, and I'd rather not have these folks have to spend their spring break putting that all together. Buy them some extra time to do that. So if nobody, if you have an objection, let me know. But if people are okay, I would like to propose that we ask the team, Jason and Dinah, to find a later date for that goal workshop. That would be greatly appreciated. Is anybody in opposition to that?
No.
Sounds good to me.
Perfect. Thank you all. So if we could
One other question.
on that or
No, there's something else.
okay. So if we could, send
We will, and then I would just encourage the board to be cognizant of that. We're building the LCAP, we're building the budget, and so by early May, it doesn't seem like there's left turns that are happening in the development of our board goals, but we definitely would not want to make a strong left turn that late in the game. So just want to make sure that we can continue to gather feedback and to massage that.
Yeah.
And I will start to put forth drafts to the board. You mean there should be a document will come out either Friday or next Friday update with the latest iteration of our work that we've done in the board workshop. So just being cognizant of that for Paulo over here at our LCAP team.
Yeah, I think that should be fine. I don't see left turns coming either. So that's all that I had. So back to you, Jen.
I just had a question. I just wanted to bring it up as just a concern I've heard from constituents just about, especially in our community, the schedule for next year, the calendar schedule, and just making sure that's on our agenda to have a conversation about.
I believe that you're referencing the school calendar.
That's correct.
Yes. So we've been working with a neighboring school district to try to assure that we're in alignment and working with our union about our negotiated calendar for 23-24. Manhattan still does not have a negotiated calendar going into 23-24. So we'll continue to work with them to try to get an idea of where they're headed.
Great. Thank you. I know would be really appreciated by many families in this community.
Yeah, I definitely look forward to the Manhattan Beach Unified Teachers Association agreeing and approving to a calendar so that we can ensure that our calendar is aligned with them.
All right, anything else? Okay, with that, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Thank you, Quinn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
What do we do with all this stuff?
Aaron. $1.05.